This movie time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Hope Madden.
And this is It's Movie Time. And Hope,
John.
it's 27 degrees out there.
I know. It's finally winter.
Gee,
when did that happen?
what movie is this reminding me of? We have The Revenant, with most notably starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Set it up for our audience, will you?
Yes, it's based on a true story, a very tall tale, but vaguely true story of fur trappers who leave one of their party for dead after a grizzly attack, and he crawls 200 miles through the snow to get revenge.
Right.
Wow!
This is, a legend, Hugh Glass, I guess, played by DiCaprio. And we're talking the 1820s. So it's an early time for our country and an awful lot of speculation and wild stuff going on. Sounds to me like a world that Quentin Tarantino would like.
I don't know if you want to live there, but I might want to write about it.
But the director is, I'm going to let you. I think.
Alejandro Iñárritu, who won last year for Birdman, which says to me he's probably not going to win it this year, although it is another glorious effort.
It is so good, and I think he did Babel before that.
He did 21 Grams. He did Amoros Perros.
Oh, yes, Amoros Perros, which was the first indication that he could deal with very difficult subjects.
Yeah.
So it is a beautiful film. The theme, Hope, for our audience?
I think in a way it's redemption, but in a way it is not. It's certainly a bloody vengeance tale, and I do think that there's a spirituality which you can really see, I think, in the cinematography in particular. I think really draws it out, and in sort of DiCaprio's character's visions throughout his trek for vengeance. But it's not like there's forgiveness in his future.
That's an interesting point. I think they're advertising it as a story of revenge.
Yeah.
And I saw it as unremittingly about survival.
But yes.
I think that was my initial response was, my gosh, this is 2.5 hours of survival. And I remember you're being really up on it, and I caught me a little bit in saying, okay, now, I got it. It is a much more substantial movie than just some simple survival tale. And so you see a spiritual element, which is very nice.
I do, and I think a lot of it, the cinematography, and I do think that he has a chance of winning, and it'll be his third in a row.
Emmanuel Lubezki?
Yeah, Lubezki. So he won for Birdman last year, and he won for Gravity the year before, and I think he's got a good shot of winning again this year.
And you're reminding me that he also did Tree of Life.
He did, and he should have won for Tree of Life.
This guy is really good.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And there Tree of Life aspects of this.
I think so.
Shots of the forest lingering there, even though much of it is manic.
Right.
Running from natives.
Yeah.
And they're running against each other. And
there was a lot of the camera work that reminded me of Birdman. The way in Birdman it was almost like the camera was sort of the ghost of the backstage. It just wound around.
It was.
And that's what it reminded me of this. The camera, it would just go into the water and through the carnage and up with the smoke into the air. It was like a ghost sort of participating and watching, and it was beautiful. It was beautifully filmed.
Oh yeah, I think so. It reminded me that famously now, I suppose, Birdman, supposedly one take, but also a very traveling camera.
Yeah, very.
Tracking all over the place. And done so very nicely, because it can be disconcerting if it's not done well.
Agreed.
And this was done beautifully.
It was.
Hope, there is a scene, this is my quiz and I know you will pass it. What is this scene in The Revenant? Well, maybe one of the most famous scenes ever.
I'd say the bear attack.
You're right.
I don't know how many people have seen as many bear attack movies as I have. I have a sort of a creature feature when animals attack sort of a weakness, and I've never seen anything like this in my life. And man, she comes back 3 times. 3 times. It's like my husband and I, our feet were off the floor. We're like, oh my God, she's coming back.
It's so funny. She just trashes him all over the place, and then she kind of like, I don't know if she's going back to her cubs or something, but she gets sidetracked.
Yeah. I'm going to go check on the kids. I'll be right back.
Yes,
it was amazing.
She comes back.
And it was so flawlessly filmed. Because there was no bear there, right? But
Of course.
oh my God, it was so flawlessly filmed. It was, just the most visceral scene, certainly in movies this year.
And it's very difficult to see the CGI in it, though you know it has to be.
Sure.
I heard, among other things, that maybe a lot of ropes and pulleys and so on for DiCaprio.
Yeah, to jerk him around.
Right,
like
to jerk him around. But still an amazing scene. I think even at one point she puts her paw on his head.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy can take a beating.
and
it's just the beginning for him.
I know. So look, he's going after Tom Hardy, who is a favorite of ours.
Yes. And he is magnificent in this film. And there's a scene where he says, "Just blink," and I'm gonna tell you, that's the creepiest thing I've seen. I mean, the whole time when you see him, DiCaprio's character just like struggling to keep his eyes open. He's just blink. Oh my God, it's the creepiest thing. But I know originally the part was supposed to go to Sean Penn, who's obviously he's a very talented actor. I'm not nothing against Sean Penn, but I think one of the things that Tom Hardy does is he gives characters full character. I think this character would have been very easy to be just a flatly evil backwoodsman, and I think that's what Sean Penn might have done with it. But Tom Hardy, he's a bad dude. This guy is a bad dude, but he gives him some humor. You've got a little empathy for him. I mean, he's a fully developed character, and I thought Hardy was outstanding.
So he's the antagonist, if you want to call DiCaprio a protagonist, and he makes the decision to bury DiCaprio. So a little bit of Edgar Allan Poe here. You get the premature burial, and everybody knows from the trailer, of course, that DiCaprio gets out there. At one point, I really questioned, though, I couldn't understand Hardy sometimes. I mean, he really mumbles it as if he were this inarticulate woodsman.
Right.
And so it works, but I always get frustrated if I miss a word.
And I think, again, that's something that he does in a number of films, and it might be just commitment to character that because he takes on thick accents in a number of different roles, and sometimes you can't always understand what he's saying. And I do definitely understand the criticism of that. On the other hand, I think I understand why he does it as well.
Yeah, and as I think about him in that role, I just think he's so much better than Sean Penn would have been.
I agree.
I don't think Penn has the expansiveness to fit into very different roles, although he is a fine actor.
Yeah, he is, but no, I agree with you.
And so we're going to end up in what would be expected, the face-off between the two. And did you find that ending okay?
I did. I loved it. It's funny because I'd seen the trailer, and there is a certain move DiCaprio does, and you remember it from the trailer, but still it snuck up on me when they did it. I also want to say I thought Will Poulter was great, a young man who's in the film, who I had only ever seen in We're the Millers, which is a comedy, and I thought Domhnall Gleeson, who is having a banner year.
How about that?
He was so great because the film is so these are not people you could know. They're just these, very hardy human beings. He reminds you there is such a thing as civilization, right? He's the reminder. People don't always behave like this. He's wonderful. The whole cast was so good.
I'm thinking that Gleason has a good shot at our award, the Central Ohio Film Critics Association, for the body of work.
I would think so.
He kept looking around and saying, I think that's Gleason.
I know, he's in everything.
And completely different.
Yeah.
Nice job. Well, okay. The film is The Revenant. Now, what's that mean, Hope, for our audience?
Well, it's funny. I've only ever been familiar with this term with zombie lore. It just means back from the dead, someone who's back from the dead.
Right, okay. And I think it could also mean a ghost of sorts. Mm-hmm. So it is somebody who comes back from the dead. It is definitely Leonardo DiCaprio. Do you think he has a chance?
I think he's the front runner right now.
Oh, well, wonderful.
Partly because he's never won, partly because it is a brilliant performance, and partly because it is a semi-weak year, I think, for lead actors.
For males, yes.
Yeah. Supporting actors, madness this year, but lead actors a little lighter than it has been in the last couple of years. I think he's got a very good shot.
Now, Hope, my usual reservation with this is, if you don't have that much dialogue, how can you? I guess if you're Marlon Brando or Tom Hardy, you can. So for DiCaprio, is this not a consideration that you make when you think about the Oscar?
I think that's a good point. And, Robert Redford got overlooked last year.
Good one.
And I think a lot of people thought that was why. He had almost no dialogue. He was a one-man show. And DiCaprio only has 15 lines of English in the entire 2.5
Is that
hours. He does speak in another language, in a native language throughout, but I mean, I think that you're right. On the other hand, I mean, he was so compelling, you know, if nothing else, yeah, he can take a beating. He could get awarded for that.
Well, along the lines of your argument, which I really appreciate, Eddie Redmayne last year had, once he was in the wheelchair, he was, you know, he didn't have that much,
No.
you know, but it's what they can bring to it. And I guess, you know, as in the case of Hardy, the Brando motif works, the mumbling, and I guess
I think so.
For Leonardo, it is surely impressive. The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Hope Madden, what grade would you award this film?
A+.
Yeah, that's the first time you ever had a plus.
Yep.
Oh, wow. And you know something? I know it's not even her top movie of the year.
No, my number 2 is my number 2 movie of the year.
And I have to give it an A- because I'm still thinking about myself coming out of that theater and telling Hope, my God, it's just all survival. And she began to uplift me, and is she doing here to make a great case for The Revenant.